This is Paul Newman, and if you are seeing this screen, I am hoping to assure you here that the live stream. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video. Thank you very much for taking the time to join me today. As always, it is very much appreciated. You joined me today here on Bank Holiday Monday evening, the 4th of May 2026, for a video on my own personal YouTube channel. What we've got coming up for you today is we've got a good old-fashioned classic review. It's been a month or two since we've done one of these videos, really. So we have got a bit of a classic backlog to review. So what better time to get through them than Bank Holiday, where everything is quiet, everybody else is resting. It gives us an opportunity to really work hard and get ahead of the crowd. What we're going to do today is we're going to take a look at 6 classics. Some of them will feature horses on my own website, which can be found at classicwatch26.great/site.net. That is where this year's edition of Classic Watch can be found. As you will see, the Roll of Honour is coming together quite nicely now. There are 7 theatres on the site now around the world after the addition of the UK, the UAE and the USA. This past coming weekend, you'll see more horses now coming on the Roll of Honour. We've got a couple of UK 2-year-old winners have come on to the site recently. One of them, Bo Echo, has managed to take out the UK 2,000 guineas. And the list of 3-year-old only lap races is also looking quite good at the minute. Only one race taken out in the all-age races by a South African horse in a listed handicap. But yeah, the Roll of Honour slowly but surely starting to come together as we move through the season. So classicwatch26.great/site.net is where people will be able to find all the classic horses. We're actually going to take a look at 6 classics in this video today. The first one we're going to take a look at is the Rosehill Guineas. All these races took place at the end of March and in April 2026. I forgot to mention that before I started. The first race we're going to take a look at is the Rosehill Guineas. The second race we're going to take a look at is the Australian Derby. Then we're going to take a look at the Australian Oaks. We're then going to start the Classic Watch 2026 look at Japan in this video, with a look at 2 Japanese classics, the Japanese 1,000 and the Japanese 2,000 guineas. And we're going to end the video with our first look this year in South Australia. We're going to head to Morphettville and take a look at the 2026 South African Oaks. So why not? We might as well get started now, I think. The first race we're going to take a look at, the Rosehill Guineas, took place on the 26th of March. I think, the 21st of March, 2026. It actually featured 2 Classic Watch 26 horses. Observer, who earlier in the Australian season had managed to win 2 classics for the site, and Green Spaces, who had made his classic debut in a race we looked at in the last video, where he could only sadly finish 6th. Both those horses returned to Rosehill for a crack at the Guineas. Observer went off the favourite. So without further ado, let's take a look at the race, shall we, and see what we think.
It's Sky Racing, Rosehill Guineas time. There's the light. We're ready to go. The gates are back and they're off and racing. One step closer, taken back, and 5 of them have come out contesting the lead. Federalist, Observer, Bing Eye going up. Autumn Boy was there, but eases back to 4th. Victoria's Spirit caught a bit deep. Deal Done Fast goes along the rails inside Green Space. And 1 step closer is last of all. So Observer in front. Bing Eye moves up on the outside and is going to serve it up to him. And Bing Eye Dots takes the lead now as they enter the back section section of the course. Observer being restrained there by Williams, and hands up in second spot. Victorious Spirit moves up on the outside, going to third. Federalist fourth, and Autumn Boy is in a handy fifth position as the rain starts to fall for the first time today. Then Deal Done Fast on the inside of green spaces, and one step closer is last of all. 1,200 to go. Bing Eye in front by a length to Observer in a clear second. The Maiden Federalist third. Victorious Spirit covering ground in fourth position. Just keeping Autumn Boy in a bit of a pocket at this point. A length into Deal Done Fast on the inside of green spaces, and one step closer is last of all. So Bing Eye in the hands of Ben Mellon leads at the 900 metres by a length and a half to Observer. Victorious Spirit the outside, Federalist the fence, then Autumn Boy still in fifth. Then came Deal Done Fast from green spaces, and one step closer is peeling three wide to start a run. Approaching the turn, and Bing Eye leads the way by a length and a half to Observer. Then Federalist. Victorious Spirit's got Autumn Boy in a pocket as one step closer moves up on the outside. Approaching the turn, Bing Eye, Observer, Victorious Spirit one step closer, and Autumn Boy McDonald's just eyeing off a gap, looking for it now. Bing Eye leads at the 300 metres. Observer stoked up by Williams giving chase, and McDonald said, "Go on, Autumn Boy!" And Autumn Boy moved up at the 250. Put pay to Observer, Bing Eye. Further back then to green spaces, running on, but it's Autumn Boy clearing the Rose Hill Guineas. This is a win that'll live forever for James McDonald. 130 Group 1 winners, and what a performance. Green spaces second. I think Observer third, then one step closer, Federalist. Further back to Bing Eye, a gap two, Deal Done Fast, and last end was Victorious Spirit. This history-making day at Rose Hill, and James McDonald putting the race to bed at the 250 metre mark on Autumn Boy, going straight past Observer. And what a win it's been. What a day it's been.
What a performance there from the James McDonald ridden Autumn Boy to take out the Group 1 Rose Hill Guineas over 1 mile and 2 furlongs. I thought that was a very good performance, it's fair to say. To defeat two Classic Watch 26 possibles in the same race, green spaces and Observer, no mean feat at all. A fantastic performance from the Autumn Sun. Autumn Boy was the winner, sired by the Autumn Sun out of a dam called Rose Garden, who is a New Zealand bred mare who is bred by Savabeel. Autumn Boy trained by Chris Waller and ridden by James McDonald, a racing post rating of 118 on the day. The horse ran out a convincing 2-length winner on the day. Second place was the first Classic Watch 26 horse home, Green Spaces, sired by Street Boss out of a dam called Outdoor, who herself is sired by Reduced Choice. Green Spaces trained by Bjorn Baker and ridden by Rachel King, secured his first classic placed effort of his career, running to a racing post rating of 112. Third home on the day, giving real solid weight to the form, was the dual Classic Watch 2026 Hero Observer, sired by Gayath out of a dam called Smooth, who was sired by Lonro. Observer trained by Kieran Marr and ridden by Craig Williams, on the day ran to a racing post rating of 110. Fourth home on the day was the first gelding home, One Step Closer, the 80 to 1 shot, sired by Castle Vecchio out of a dam called Get Closer, Japanese bred mare, sired by Wild Rush. One Step Closer was trained by Tom Charlton and ridden by Zach Lloyd, and the gelding ran to a racing post rating of 109. Very good performance, I thought, on the day there from Autumn Boy. To see off two Classic Watch 26 possibles is not easy to do. He never managed to see off Baywax. Baywax hammered this horse in a 3-year-old only race this year. So I'm in no control over which of my Classic Watch 26 possibles make it to the Classics and therefore on the site, which is why I will always recommend heading to the Classic Watch 26 possibles playlist on the YouTube channel, which will contain videos of every horse, irrespective of whether they make it onto the great site or not. Very interesting race there. I don't think people can begrudge Autumn Boy that classic. Really, he's been running in a few, and he's managed to get the win he deserved at Rose Hill. The next race we're going to take a look at is the Australian Derby. Australian Derby was held on the 4th of April at Randwick in New South Wales. And again, some of the same horses turned up over the extra 2 furlongs, a mile and a half this race. The Rose Hill Guineas over 10 furlongs. And again, Classic Watch 26 was well represented on the day, with Green Spaces, the Rose Hill Guineas, a runner-up. And I think Observer even might have come back for some more as well. So without further ado, let's take a look at the Australian Derby, shall we, from April 2026. And then we will be able to see what we think.
We're ready to run in the Australian Derby of 2026. Observer, the warm favourite, and we're set to go. Stand by for a break. Off in the Derby. And last out of the gates was Deal Done Fast there in the pale blue jacket, and Federalist has jumped well. Looking for the lead from Storm Leopard, being sent forward is Victoria Spirit together with Observer and Bing Eye right there. And pushing through along the inside running rail in the early part is Storm Leopard trying to hold a few out. Just behind them now is KJ as they turn out of the straight, and making some ground is Deal Done Fast. It's got about 5 behind it early, 1 step closer. Are You Kidding on the inside of Road to Paris? Then came Savvy Santa. And right back to last now is Deal Done Fast. And just a little bit worse than midfield is Designation. So Observer, the favourite, taken to the front by McDonald. It leads by a length and a half on Victoria Spirit. Storm Leopard gets a great spot third on the back of the speed. 2 after Bing Eye fourth. Then Federalist on the inside of Green Spaces. Further back to KJ, then Designation. Are You Kidding from 1 step closer? The New Zealand Derby winner Road to Paris is back third last from Savvy Santa. And Deal Done Fast is back out the rear of the field. McDonald staying well off the fence, and Observer as they roll down the back. And Observer's a comfortable leader by a length and a half on Storm Leopard on the inside of Victoria Spirit. 2 further back then to Bing Eye. Half the inside to Federalist, followed by Green Spaces, is really relaxed in the run. Put to sleep there, Green Spaces. On the outside of KJ, then Designation, further back to Are You Kidding? From 1 step closer, 2 further back to Savvy Santa, a half the outside to Road to Paris. And last in the Derby, as they race down the side, is Deal Done Fast. So it's the favourite on top here, Observer, by a half length now in Victoria Spirit. Storm Leopard on the back of the speed. Designation, the roughie, takes off going to fourth. In front of Bing Eye, Green Spaces, whips up on the outside with a free ride home. Over on the inside is KJ as Federalist is under pressure. 1 step closer, gets going from Are You Kidding? Then Savvy Santa, Road to Paris. And last of all is Deal Done Fast as they turn for home, and Storm Leopard's gone up on the inside of Observer. And Storm Leopard raced to a narrow lead from Observer. Then Designation, Green Spaces down the outside and further back to 1 step closer. Storm Leopard shows the way. Green Spaces moved up quickly. Green Spaces takes the lead narrowly now from Storm Leopard. They're 2 lengths clear from Designation, but Green Spaces sent clear in the Derby, and that's a big win. Green Spaces beats the roughie Designation. Storm Leopard third. Thundering home on the inside was KJ from Observer, followed then by 1 step closer. A good gap back in the field to Deal Done Fast, Victoria Spirit, Road to Paris, Savvy Santa, Are You Kidding? Bing Eye, and Federalist was last in. Bjorn Baker's won the Derby, with Green Spaces capping off a brilliant day for Rachel King in the saddle with a riding treble, and Bjorn Baker really savouring the moment. A race.
What a performance there from the Classic Watch 26 horse. Runner-up in the Guineas. He warned you he was going to do that, and still the horse went off at 17-5. How satisfying it was for my own little website to take out yet another classic here on Classic Watch 26.great/site.net. And with another horse. It's not like we're winning them all with one horse. of Green Spaces joins the Classic Watch 26 Roll of Honour by winning the Australian Derby. Green Spaces sired by Street Boss out of a dam called Outdoor, who herself is an Australian bred mare sired by Reduced Choice. Green Spaces, trained by Bjorn Baker and ridden by Rachel King, has stormed home in the Australian Derby by 3 1/4 lengths with a racing post rating of 115 required to take the race out. In second place was the 150 to 1 shot, a colt, Designation, sired by So You Think, out of a dam called Design, who herself was sired by Zabil. Designation, trained by Matthew A. Smith and ridden on the day by Tyler Schiller. The horse ran to a racing post rating of 108. Third home on the day, Storm Leopard. Storm Leopard a gelding, sired by Gayath, out of a dam called Brilliance, an Australian bred mare sired by Street Cry. Storm Leopard, trained by Ben, Will and J.D. Hayes, ridden by Tommy Berry. Storm Leopard ran to a racing post rating of 107 on the day. Fourth home in the race was KJ, another gelding sired by Crackerjack King, out of a dam called K Club, who was sired by High Chaparral. KJ, trained by Clayton Douglas and ridden by Mark Zara, a 106 racing post rating on the day for the fourth. And in fifth on the day, another classic ran in, Observer, finishing fifth in the Australian Derby, sired by Gayath, out of a dam called Smooth, who herself was sired by Lonro. Observer on the day, trained by Kieran Marr and ridden by James McDonald. Observer ran to a racing post rating of 106 on the day to only finish fifth. The New Zealand Derby runner was also in the race, Road to Paris. That horse could only finish seventh. The Circus Maximus sired gelding. But yeah, all in all, a very interesting race. And it was quite humbling, really, to see a horse of mine like that, Green Spaces, just turn in such a fantastic performance like that. You know, that is why I identified the horse, really. You know, it is what it is. Green Spaces, yet another classic winner for Classic Watch 26.great/site.net. Right, it's time now to head to the Australian Oaks, which took place at the same track, Randwick, and a week later. Classic Watch 26.great/site.net was again represented, and it was represented by a horse that had already won a classic. Oh Hope He Wins had returned a New Zealand Oaks before she started her Australian career. Unfortunately, we weren't with Oh Hope He Wins when she took out the New Zealand Oaks. But I did like the horse, but my horse on the day, Origin of Love, sadly failed to get to the New Zealand Oaks, which left the site without a runner for that race. But it was good to see Oh Hope He Wins, the New Zealand Oaks winner, set out on an Australian Oaks campaign, because it gave us a chance to get a filly we'd always wanted on side onto the great site. You know, so I was quite excited and looking forward to seeing Oh Hope He Wins turn up in the Australian Oaks. I think she was the only runner Classic Watch had represented on the day. We will confirm that when we look at the final analysis of the race. But for now, let's move forward a week and head to Randwick, take a look at the Australian Oaks, and then we will be able to see what we think.
Start up. Sends them off in the Australian Oaks. No speed at all by Queen of Clubs. Now wide out, profoundly being sent forward in the early stages from Lamora Mountain Queen, and Long Legs is not going to give up the fence without a fight. After Summer pushes through into fifth position early. Classic Gem right behind. Solveroto takes a spot down on the rails. Stand My Ground is 3 wide in the early part. In advance of the favourite, I Hope He Wins. They're followed for the back by Satono Invader. And the last two, Queen of Clubs on the inside of Dance with Destiny. So Long Legs push through on the inside, and Long Legs holds the front from the roughy Lamora, and another roughy Mountain Queen third. Profoundly after the good getaway is up running fourth and only 2.5 off the leader. Stand My Ground's off the course, moving up on the outside is Soverado and After Summer between them. Then Satono Invader on the inside of Classic Gem. I Hope He Wins has switched off nicely back in the field. The favourite is third last from Queen of Clubs, and Dance with Destiny's at the tail of the field. 1,400 metres to go. It's taken a while, but Stand My Ground has looped the field and now takes the lead. Out by a length and a half. Lamora goes to second, and Long Legs races third on the inside. Then came Mountain Queen, who effectively is one out, one back. Profoundly now fifth and about 6 off the lead. Then Soverado. After Summer is next the outside and the red cap. Then Satono Invader. Classic Gem and the white cap is next in the running line, followed by Queen of Clubs. Now I Hope He Wins is now second last and would be about 15 lengths off the leader, and the roughy Dance with Destiny last. So it's Stand My Ground, 800 to go, leading the way by 2.5 lengths from Long Legs. Then came Lamora. Mountain Queen being roused along on the outside. The runs are starting a long way out. Profoundly just sits back in fifth, about 3 off the lead, taking its time. Then came Soverado. After Summer, Classic Gem improves. Still third last as I Hope He Wins, but the field is starting to bunch up now. It's Stand My Ground, turning the corner in front of the Oaks, but here come the runs. Profoundly gets going, so does After Summer the outside. Classic Gem, and I Hope He Wins in the white blinkers is winding up on the outside. Profoundly takes the lead at the 200. I Hope He Wins. She's looming ominously today, and I Hope He Wins moves up to Profoundly with After Summer fighting in the middle. I Hope He Wins gets a half on Profoundly and After Summer, and I Hope He Wins claims the Oaks double. I Hope He Wins a half length from either Profoundly or After Summer. Classic Gem running home into fourth, and they absolutely gap the rest. 10 lengths to Soverado, then Dance with Destiny, Stand My Ground, Mountain Queen, Queen of Clubs, Lamora, Satono Invader. Long Legs, the leader, early, has finished last. I Hope He Wins, the filly from across the ditch, claiming the New Zealand and Australian Oaks double, with Yulong and Chris Waller is now Sydney based, and it was a real dour performance by her. The filly by Ocean Park.
What a performance from the Classic Watch 26.great/site.net horse. Oh Hope He Wins, the New Zealand Oaks filly, has taken out another classic for my own little site. Classic Watch 26.great/site.net. Is there any better site in the world? I'm not sure there is. I don't see any other sites doing what this site does on such a regular basis. This time, Oh Hope He Wins was the only horse the site needed to take out the Australian Oaks at Randwick of 2026. Oh Hope He Wins was the winner, a horse sired by Ocean Park out of a dam called Shoemania, who herself was sired by Reduced Choice. Oh Hope He Wins trained by Chris Waller and ridden by James McDonald. She secured the race with a Racing Post rating of 105 to take out her second classic of the season, and the first for my little site. In second place was Profoundly sired by Farnan out of a dam called Profound Wisdom, who herself was sired by Al Samir. Profoundly beaten a long neck on the day, trained by Michael Friedman and ridden by Tommy Berry. The filly ran to a Racing Post rating of 104 on the day. Third home was After Summer. After Summer, a further nose back. After Summer, sired by the Autumn Sun out of a dam called Al Jazra, who herself was sired by Scirocco. After Summer, trained by Dominic Sutton and ridden by Billy Egan, ran to a Racing Post rating of 104. Fourth home on the day was Classic Gem. Classic Gem, sired by Maurice out of a dam called Lankan Gold, who herself was sired by Dundeel. Classic Gem was another one trained by Dominic Sutton, this one ridden by Damien Lane, and the horse gained a Racing Post rating of 102. There was 5 1/4 lengths to the rest of the field, but a good win from the New Zealand Oaks winner. I hope he wins to secure the New Zealand and Australian Oaks double. And really, that's the first New Zealand Train Classic winner that people will have seen on any edition of Classic Watch, I think. This is the first year that we've covered the New Zealand Classics, and it is already paying dividends, it's fair to say. A good win from I Hope He Wins on the day. Right, I'm going to pause the video quickly now because I've just got to line up the next 2 classics because it's going to be a look now. We're going to move for the first time this season to take a look at the Classic Watch 26 cycle out in Japan. We've actually finished now. Victoria and New South Wales have added their name now. I think them 2 races, the 3 races that we've looked at, were actually the last classics in New South Wales of the Classic Watch 2026 cycle. I think Victoria was done a long time before that. So we move forward as in the same video as we finish, we start, and we're going to take a look when I come back at the first 2 Japanese classics of the 2026 classic cycle, the Japanese 1,000 guineas and the Japanese 2,000 guineas. So I will be back shortly. Hello everybody and welcome back. Yes, it's now time to head to Asia, and we're going to head to Japan and take a look at the first classic of the year in Japan, which was the Japanese 1,000 guineas. I play the Japanese horses a bit different than what I do to the other lot. There are so many well-bred horses in Japan. What I do is I tend to send them off in batches, and hoping that the horses that I send off in batches, I'm hoping that one of them, they will all run in more than one classic, to be fair. You know, some of them I think might be Oaks fillies. Some of them I think might be Shuka Show fillies, which I think the first time this year we're taking a look at what is apparently the 3rd leg of the Fillies Triple Crown out in Japan, a race we've never looked at before specifically. It's a race we've won before out in Japan, but I've just not included the race as a classic. But this year the race is forming a part of the Classic Watch 26 programme to give the Japanese fillies a 3rd chance and a same. Again, it's worth doing that, I think. So I do think I set 5 Japanese fillies off, I think, ahead of the Japanese 1,000 guineas, just to get some Japanese representation on the site. All 5 horses were sent off on their classic trail, and I was hoping that they'd all run quite well in all classics, including the first one we're going to take a look at, which is the Japanese 1,000 guineas, is the first one we're going to take a look at. And without further ado, we will be able to do that now. We're going to take a look at the Japanese 1,000 guineas. I'm glad to say they are in English, the classics. So without further ado, let's take a look at the Japanese 1,000 guineas, held over a mile, I think at Hanshin, and then we'll see what we think.
In the outer gate, Lily Joie loads up. And that's it. We have a line there. Off and racing in the Oka Show for 2026. I Need You started well from Rule the Wave, Namura Cosmos, and Longing Celine off to a good start. San Antoine is up there as well with Dear Diamond on the outside. Then Precipio goes forward, Shonan Caddis, and then Dream Core on the inside of Dream Core. Namura Cosmos now not dropped back a little bit on the outside. Then is Black Chalice, further back to Sweet Happiness, Elegance Ask, and then Star Anise. Lily Joie comes next with Zippy Tune, and Alan Carr under Yutaka Take brings up the rear as the 18 fillies now head up at the top end. It's Longing Celine from Rule the Way. Precipio is in 3rd, I Need You, and then comes Gara Vogue, and with Gara Vogue just on the outside, then Shonan Caddis and Black Chalice is there as well, and in behind San Antoine, with San Antoine the the quartered cap of Star Anise and Dream Core. Namura Cosmos on the inside. Festival Hill. Zippy Tune is a long way back with Alan Carr and Sweet Happiness with it all to do at the moment. Precipio it is from Rule the Wave, longing Celine on the rails. And here's Shonan Karis, but here's the quartered cap of Star Anise that takes over now. Star Anise it is in the clear from Namura Cosmos. Dream Core I don't think can get there. Star Anise is out by a long way here with the quarter cap on a Kohei Matsuyama. Star Anise goes on to score from Garavogue, very close possibly on the far side there. The number 11 runner in Zippy Tune with Alan Carr, and then came I Need You with I Need You, San Antoine, Namura Cosmos, Dream Core, Dear Diamond, Shonan Karis, Black Chalice.
A good performance there, I think, from Star Anise to take out the first classic of the year out in Japan, the Japanese 1,000 guineas. And yes, that horse was one of the 5 that was on my own little website, classicwatch26.great/site.net. It might have taken 5 horses, but the site has taken out the first Japanese classic at Hanshin, the Japanese 1,000 guineas. And I thought that was a pretty good performance, to tell you the truth. We'll take a look at the race now and the other 4, how they got on as well. The Oka Show, the race is called, Japanese 1,000 guineas, held over a mile. The race took place on the 12th of April 2026, and the winner was Star Anise. Star Anise sired by Dreyfong out of a dam called Epichi Aromi, who herself was sired by Daiwa Major. Star Anise trained by Tomokazu Takano and ridden by Kohei Matsuyama. A good performance on the day. The horse, a 2.5 length victor of the Japanese 1,000 guineas, running to a racing post rating of 114 on the day. Second home on the day was Garavogue. Garavogue, a horse sired by Lord Kanaloa out of a dam called Lexi Lou, a Canadian bred mare, who was sired by Sligo Bay. Garavogue trained by Haruki Sugiyama and ridden by Atsuya Nishimura. A racing post rating of 105 was gained for finishing second. Third home on the day was Zippy Tune, a 78 to 1 shot on the day. Zippy Tune sired by Lord Kanaloa again, out of a dam called Zipessa, a USA bred mare who was sired by City Zip. Zippy Tune trained by Toru Hayashi and ridden by Yuichi Kitamura, gained a racing post rating of 103 for a classic place in the 1,000 guineas. Fourth home on the day was I Need You. I Need You, sired by Fine Needle, out of a dam called Predicament, a Japanese bred mare sired by Hardspun. I Need You, Godolphin owned horse, trained by Keiji Yoshimura and ridden by Yuga Kawada. The horse, the filly, gained a racing post rating of 102 for finishing 4th in the classic. Unfortunately, though, despite sending 5 off, classicwatch26.great/site.net, Star Anise only managed to have 1 horse home in the first 10 in that race. 2 horses no, in the first 10. Second home for Classic Watch 26 was Dream Core, who actually finished 9th, beaten 5 1/4 lengths. Dream Core sired by Kizuna, out of a dam called Norm Core, who herself was sired by Harbinger. Dream Core trained by Kiyoshi Hagiwara and ridden on the day by Christophe Patrice Lemaire. She gained a racing post rating of 99. Had to be disappointed with that one, really. All of these were disappointing in my view. Dear Diamond was the next Classic Watch horse home. She could only finish 12th. Dear Diamond, sired by Saturnalia, out of a dam called Sky Diamonds, a USA bred mare sired by First Dude. Dear Diamond was trained by Takahisa Tezuka and ridden on the day by Keita Tosaki, and she gained a racing post rating of 92. Following her home was another Classic Watch 26 horse, Dear Diamond, in 12th. Dear Diamond sired Well, that's what we looked at. Sorry, Sweet Happiness was 13th. Sweet Happiness, sired by Real Impact, out of a dam called Jura, a Japanese wed mare sired by Workforce. Sweet Happiness was trained by Yoshihito Kitadi and ridden by Riki Takasugi, and the horse ran to a Racing Post rating of 92 in finishing 13th. Black Chalice, excuse me, was another horse I decided to chance on the day. Black Chalice, a horse sired by Kitasan Black, out of a dam called Gold Chalice, a Japanese wed mare sired by To The World. Black Chalice trained by Kosuhiro Take and ridden by Akihide Sumura. The horse finished 15th and only gained a Racing Post rating of 82. Whipping in the Classic Watch 26 horses was Festival Hill, who's actually related to a classic winner on Classic Watch 25 last year, Museum Hill. Festival Hill has to be going down as a disappointment in only 17th. Festival Hill sired by Saturnalia, out of a dam called Museum Hill, who herself is sired by Heart's Cry. Festival Hill trained by Hirofumi Shi and ridden by Ryusei Sakai, a Racing Post rating of 81 on the day for Festival Hill in only finishing 17th. So mixed results really. While the site was good enough to take out the race with the winner, Star Anise, she was very short on the day and fancied by the majority of Japan. You know, when you're putting 5 or 6 horses in a race, you really need better than one horse in the first 8 of a classic, really. So I do think there's definite room for improvement in Japan, even after one classic. You know, the writing is not on the wall for the others, but it'll be interesting to see what turns up in the second Japanese Fillies Classic of the year, it's fair to say. But all in all, I thought that was an interesting race. It was satisfying to have the winner with Star and Ease, but I would have preferred to see a lot better from some of the other horses on the site at the moment. Right, I'm going to pause the video again now, and I'm going to try and line up the Japanese Colts version now. The Japanese 2,000 guineas, which unlike the fillies is not over a mile, it's over 1 mile 2 furlongs, and the race is not at Hanshin either. The race is at Nakayama. But apart from that, both races are exactly the same. So I'll be back shortly. Hello everybody, and welcome back. We're going to take a look now at the 5th classic of the 6 we're going to take a look at in this video. And we're staying in Japan and moving forward a week. We're heading to Nakayama now to take a look at the colts in the Japanese 2,000 guineas, which is held over 1 mile and 2 furlongs. Rather like the fillies, I sent off a batch of colts on the Japanese Classic Trail at the same time. Rather hoping for better than what we had in the Japanese Oaks, Japanese 1,000 guineas, sorry. Although we did take the race out, the other horses performed very poorly, with only one of them managing to finish in the top 10. So without further ado, we can head to Nakayama now and line up the Japanese 2,000 guineas, and we will be able to see what we think.
They're ready. Racing in the Satsuki show. Forte Angelo red and came out last in the barriers, but the rest commenced okay. Large Ensemble shows speed. Little squeezing going on. Love Chen is going forward along the rail, and coming over is Realize Sirius to want a piece of the action, and up there as well as Ask Edinburgh, and Maya Quads goes forward as well, but it's Love Chen leads into the first corner. Good ride by Kohei Matsuyama, and a even better ride by Realize Sirius's jockey to get over into 3rd position. Cavalarizzo kicks up on the inside in between runners. Then at Ask Edinburgh, followed by a Maya Quads, then Sound Move. Then between runners, Large Ensemble. Wider out going on is Acro Phase. In fact, it's Green Energy. And then comes Lord Filet, followed by Reich Sadler. Ultra Moves is out 3 wide. A gap to Pontra Naif on its inside, Sonono Greater. Well back Acro Phase. On its inside is Zorro Astro, Forte Angelo, Matenro Gale, and at the tail of the field, trying to whip him in is Fort Angelo. So they go up the rise, and in front at the moment is Love Chen. Leads out from Realize Sirius. Along the Reyes Cavallerizzo, Admire Quads into third, and Ask Enbra in between runners. Then comes Green. In fact, it's Acrophase under pressure. Then back to the inside is Ensemble with a sound move. Picking up is Reich Sadler. Couple going back through the field. Green Energy and Punter Naif is really under trouble, and Green Energy takes off. They swing for home, and Realize Sirius takes the lead with Love Chen. In behind them, whacking away is Cavallerizzo, and also Ask Edinburgh, and running on is Reich Sadler. It's Realize Sirius, the inside. Love Chen is kicking. Realize Sirius, Love Chen, they're really down to a battle. Love Chen is fighting, and fighting hard. Love Chen goes on and scores. Realize Sirius, and Reich Sadler flies home to get third. Then came Ask Edinburgh, which was a good run. Green Energy, sound move, back to the inside, Fort Angelo with Large Ensemble. Sonono Greater, Zorro Astro, Matenro Gale.
What a finish there to the first Colts Classic of 2026 in Japan, the Japanese 2,000 guineas at Nakayama. Seeing a great battle, I thought, at the end there between Love Chen and Realize Sirius. And it was the non-Classic Watch 26 horse, Love Chen, that managed to land the race. Love Chen is the winner of the Japanese 2,000 guineas. ClassicWatch26.great/site.net, despite throwing a few colts at the race, has sadly fallen short in the first Colts Classic in Japan. Love Chen, the 3-1 favourite on the day, sired by World Premiere out of a dam called Songwriting, who herself was sired by Giant's Causeway. Love Chen trained by Hiroki Sugiyama and ridden by Kohei Matsuyama. A racing post rating of 113. Good enough on the day, according to the Racing Post, to take out the Japanese 2,000 guineas. Second place home on the day was the first Classic Watch 26 horse home on the day, runner-up Realize Sirius, sired by Poetic Flair out of a dam called Red Mirabelle, who herself was sired by Stay Gold. Realize Sirius trained by Takahisa Tezuka and ridden by Akihide Sumura. A racing post rating of 111 on the day. Third place home in the Japanese 2,000 guineas was Reich Sadler, a horse sired by Siskin out of a dam called Crailing, who herself was sired by Heart's Cry. Reich Sadler trained by Yuki Uehara and ridden by Daisuke Sasaki. A racing post rating of 109 on the day for the classic placed horse. Fourth home on the day and narrowly missing the places was Ask Edinburgh. Ask Edinburgh sired by Leontes out of a dam called Honey Trip, who herself was sired by Manhattan Cafe. Ask Edinburgh trained by Yuichi Fukunaga and ridden by Yosunari Iwata. The horse ran to a racing post rating of 109. Again, rather like the classic of before, the rest of the Classic Watch 26 horses nowhere to be seen. The second home of them was in fact only in 11th place. Base Tear, sired by Kitasan Black, out of a dam called Mambia, who was sired by Aldebaran. Base Tear trained by Takahashi Saito and ridden by Yuga Kawada. The horse finishing 11th, running to a racing post rating of 100. 12th home, they all finished a bit of a bunch looking at this. 12th home, Zorro Astro, another Classic Watch horse sired by Maurice out of a dam called Almirena, who herself was sired by Deep Impact. Zorro Astro trained by Keisuke Miyata and ridden by Mirai Iwata, a racing post rating of 99. 13th home was Cavallerizzo, the one I actually fancied the most ahead of the race. Cavallerizzo sired by Saturnalia out of a dam called Balladist, who herself was sired by Heart's Cry. Cavallerizzo trained by Tatsuya Yoshioka and ridden by Damien Lane, another one with a Racing Post rating of 99. And the last one home on the day for Classic Watch 26 was the 14th placed horse home, Pentra Knave, sired by Kizuna, out of a dam called Art Brute, who herself was sired by McPhee. Pentra Knave trained by Tetsuya Kimura and ridden by Christophe Patrice Lemaire. The horse could only finish 96 on the day. So, classicwatch26.great/site.net has in fact fallen short out in Japan, really. It's put in about 10 or 11 horses, and the site has had two home in the first three of each race, when, to be honest, a lot more horses were chanced. And I was expecting and hoping the results to actually be a lot better than what they were in the first two Japanese classics of the year. Just goes to show how tough Japanese racing is. I'm hoping to pick up the Japanese pattern again when they head to the second round of classics. But for now, we can leave Japan and head for the first time this year to South Australia. There's always a bit of a fortnight's gap or so in between the Victoria and New South Wales racing finishing and the rest of the South Australian racing starting. We have to head to Queensland as well for some Oaks and Guineas there. Whatever Group 1 races, there might be some Classic Watch 26 representation in them as well. But today, we're going to end the video by taking a look at the first Classic of the year held in South Australia, the Australasian Oaks, held at Morphettville. There was one horse, I think, going for Classic Watch 26 in this race. Paltrow Miss, a horse that was identified on the eve of the race. A horse that had been running in New Zealand that has since been switched to Australia. So Classic Watch 26 did have some interest in all six classics shown in this video, which isn't always the case. But for now, let's head to Morphettville and take a look at the final classic of the video, the Australian Oaks, and then we'll wrap up the result and see what we think.
They're set. And underway now, the gates are back in the Oaks, and Freedom Flame hopped out well here. Get a good feelings going forward. Salty Pearl and also Paltrow Miss and Naragi are all pressing forward out wide. So Naragi is going to run to the lead from Paltrow Miss. Get a good feeling. And just in behind the speed, Freedom Flame. Savitri's on the way forward out wide. Then came Stung, and it's around the outside there of Salty Pearl, who's midfield the grey. Then came Mating Call. She found the rail midfield there for Mellum. Then came Cushioned and Wee Wee Marcherie. Kazaru is back behind it. Then came behind those Panova. Well out of it Synthesize in the early stages. From behind those Just Kick. It's in fact third last and 2 lengths away to Strictly Business. And Bonus Forza, the Kiwi, is back last outside of that runner. So down the back of the straight here in the Australasian Oaks, and the leader is doing it okay, Naragi, led by a length and a half here to Savitri, who's running second. The speed looked to be okay. 2 lengths away to Paltrow Miss and Freedom Flame, and Stung is moved in to be running fifth. Get a good feelings travelling well outside of Mating Call. 2 of the big guns in the betting are racing side by side. Then came Cushioned and Salty Pearl. Further back, Kazaru, the inside from Panova for J-Mac. It's back in about 6th last position. Wee Wee Marcherie. Then came Just Kick and also Synthesize, Strictly Business. And Bonus Forza, if the Kiwi's going to win, she's going to have to come from last. So now they start to dial it up. 600 metres to go in the Oaks. Naragi led. Second, Savitri, a length and a half away. 2 to Freedom Flame for third. The inside for Johnston. Then Paltrow Miss, Stung. Cushioned, and then Panova getting right to the outside. Get a good feelings held up for a run. So's Mating Call. Naragi's the leader now in the Oaks. Paltrow misses after it. Mating Call's getting a run for Mellum. Out wide, Panova for J-Mac. Panova hit the lead from behind those then. Getting through Mating Call, but it's Panova for James McDonald and Waller. Panova's going to do it. Panova from Mating Call. Third, Paltrow Miss, and fourth, Get a Good Feeling. What a ride by J-Mac in the Oaks. Then Salty Pearl. Further back in the field, Savitri, Strictly Business, Kazaru, Freedom Flame, Cushioned, Bonus Forza, Naragi, Synthesize, Wee Wee Marcherie, Just Kick, last in. It's Waller and McDonald. Win number 199, Group 1s for Chris Waller. Panova's done it, number 4. With still a Group 1 to go, Waller may get the 200.
Very good performance there, I thought. And a very well judged ride by jockey James McDonald on the Chris Waller trained Panova to take out the first classic of the South Australian season, the south of the Australasian Oaks, a race held at Morphettville. I thought that was a fair performance on the day from Panova. I just thought there the Classic Watch 26 actually did have two runners in the race, so we will take a look at both of them at some point. But first, let's take a look at the winner, Panova. Panova, the winner, sired by Trapeze Artist, out of a dam called Love Me Quietly, who herself was sired by Trustin. Panova trained by Chris Waller and ridden by James McDonald. Racing post rating of 112, deemed good enough to take out the Australasian Oaks. Second home on the day and a length behind the winner was Mating Call. Mating Call sired by Brazen Bow out of a dam called Monopole, who herself was sired by High Chaparral. Mating Call trained by Dan Clarken and Oopie McGilvery and ridden on the day by Jamie Mellon. A racing post rating of 109 on the day for the Australasian Oaks runner-up. Third home on the day was the first Classic Watch 26.great/site.net horse home. So the site did secure a placed effort in the Australasian Oaks with a 14-1 shot. Paltrow Miss, sired by Circus Maximus, out of a dam called Tantalising, who herself was sired by Savabeel. Paltrow Miss trained by Kieran Marr and ridden by Craig Williams on the day. She secured a racing post rating of 108 and valuable Group 1 Classic placed run as well. Just out of the placed efforts on the day was the favourite, Get a Good Feeling, sired by So You Think, out of a dam called Marquise da Rossa, who herself was sired by Testa Rossa. Get a Good Feeling trained by Danny O'Brien and ridden by Billy Egan. She ran to a racing post rating of 105 on the day. We'll pick up the other Classic Watch 26.great/site.runner now, and you'll see there that she did manage to crash the top 10. The horse in question was the 8th place home Stung, sired by Dundeel, out of a dam called Rare Ransom, who herself was sired by Oasis Dream. Stung was trained by Ben, Will and J.D. Hayes and ridden on the day by Kevin McAvoy, and she ran to a racing post rating of 97. So not a bad effort there, really, I think it's fair to say, on the day. Well, to chance a 14-1 shot, secure a placed effort in a classic. But it was disappointing, really, that Stung couldn't back up the run from Paltrow Miss, but 3rd and 8th, a 14-1 and a 50-1 shot. Disappointing not to be able to take the race out with any horse I select, really. But the placed effort horse, Paltrow Miss, has to be said, did run a decent race, it's fair to say. She did very little wrong in it. Right, I think I can think about wrapping up this video now. We've taken a look at the 6 classics that I wanted to look at to clear some of the backlog up, the reviewing backlog up. Don't forget, moving through the season, people are still able to keep an eye on the sites ahead of the races and after the races at classicwatch26.great/site.net. But for now, I'm thinking about leaving this video here. Thank you very much to everybody for taking the time to watch it with me. I hope you enjoyed a look back at the races. What I can show you at the end of this video is I can give you an opportunity to subscribe to my YouTube channel. That way you will not miss any of my content moving forward. It's even possible, if you do some work with your new YouTube notifications, to enable YouTube to notify you every time I upload a video. That way you will not miss any more of my content moving forward on YouTube. So that might be something that you'd be interested in doing. And also what I will give you at the end of the video is I will give you a chance to recap all the classics so far on the Classic Watch 26 cycle by including a copy of the Classic Watch 26 cycle, where all the races are reviewed, starting back from the very beginning of the Classic Watch 26 cycle in Australia and New Zealand. There'll probably be some Classic Watch 25 videos in the first couple as well. We do always get some sort of an overlap. the ledgers in places like Japan and France are always after the first Australian Classics. But yeah, we did take a look at them, so head over and take a look at the Classic Watch 26 playlist. That will be at the end of this video. But for now, I'm going to bid you a fond farewell. We saw some interesting racing today. Mini Hawk, last year's Oaks heroine, returned to victory as a 4-year-old with a victory in the Group 2 Moorbridge Stakes. Also nice performances from Classic Watch 26 possible Hawk Mountain, ahead of a possible Derby Tilt, and maybe a possible Irish Guineas challenger to Bow Echo, won the Tetrarch Stakes today. So there's still plenty happening. Looking forward, it's actually the French 1,000 and 2,000 Guineas this coming weekend. So make sure you take a look at Classic Watch 2026, classicwatch26.great/site.net ahead of the race, just to see what the great site is recommending. But for now, I'm going to bid you a fond farewell. Take care of yourselves, everybody, and each other. Have a fantastic week. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Bank Holiday Monday here in the UK. If you celebrate those sort of things, look after the rest of the week. Take care of yourselves and each other. And I will hope to be back soon at some point to take a look at some horses, maybe ahead of the French 1,000 and 2,000 Guineas this week. But for now, I will bid you a fond farewell. Take care, everybody, and goodbye.